Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. This is part 2 of my Rise to Champion, my climb to Champion during the World Arena Showdown season. In this fight, a lot of them were done like not on stream and whatnot. They're just like, you know, one-off fights here and there, so it's broken up. I may commentate on a couple of the fights, like voiceover, so it's like post-match. In RTA, it's a bit different in terms of Guild War, like hindsight thoughts and commentary. In RTA, it's organic, so you really can't go in and think that, okay, I made this draft because of this, but I'll commentate on my thinking process in case people are interested in that during the gameplay. Otherwise, it's just going to be gameplay. Anyways, enjoy this, guys. Part 2. Have fun. Alright, so one of the first fights here for this part. I've been pre-banning Ruel because I don't personally own her, and she can be a bit tricky depending on their draft. I would say Athletica and Ruel and Ambitious Tywin to me right now are probably the 3 biggest threats, but because I don't own Ruel, or neither do I own Athletica and stuff, but gear-wise, I think Athletica requires like too much speed, and at this point, I do have some heroes that can outspeed most Athleticas. I wouldn't say legend, but I think definitely quick enough to compete with champion and below. This his first pick Bassar was interesting for me. I don't usually counter draft Bassars that quick because I feel that there's a lot of ways to deal with him. Although I will say I think I got outdrafted on this one slightly. When he chose the Assassin Collie and the Spectani double, and I have to deal with Bassar. Yeah, I began panicking. For the last one, I chose Dizzy because I mean Dizzy is great against all of them, and I was waiting to see what he would pick at this point. I needed a hero at that point that would cover multiple roles, so it's counter Kairon, counter Spectani, counter Assassin Collie. Dizzy does all of that. I decided to go for the Spectani because my AoE was very limited, and I assumed that he would have banned Lidica. I kept the Bassar on this one just because I felt that the RNG could favor me because this is Masters at the moment.
Time for you to
I know most people don't allow Bassar through, but yeah, this one has a bit RNG. I kind of banked on it. I would say though this player actually made some false plays, but I'll describe why later.
This is what the desert has taught me.
So I think right there he should have killed DN. If he killed DN, I think I would have lost, like for sure. It would be really hard for the Dizzy to sustain without DN support, but he decided to opt for the more tankier hero, which is my Dizzy, and then also Kairon to finish it off. So I think it was just a misplay on his part. I kind of get it though, because at this point he's thinking like everybody's exposed, Dizzy is the last threat, so I can kind of get his point too. But I don't know how I would have sustained it that well without DN. The other aspect is that I had a Ravi at my disposal at this point. So I guess trying to kill off Dizzy was the right move, I guess. But I felt that his Mercer would have killed my DN on that turn.
Is anybody there? All right. Let's advance together.
I'd say from a drafting perspective, I was a bit outplayed. The Dizzy, I think the final pick Dizzy was perfect for this one, like I said before. But otherwise, I think, you know, I kind of risked the RNG. If I allowed Spectani through and removed the Bassar, I would have lost, I think. But he could have also removed Dizzy as well, and then I think I would have for sure lost actually. because I wouldn't be able to kill the Spectani. So I think on the part of his ban, he should have banned Dizzy, allowed my Athletica in anyway, or Firelitica rather, not Athletica.
Hidden strength. Step back.
I got RNG carried on that one, the anti-crit buff coming in.
Your dead comrades.
But the fact is, because I had a Robbie always at my disposal with relatively squishy heroes.
This is what you get for ruining my vacation. I believe this is what the goddess wills. Please save us.
I wanted to BM. So toxic. Apologies. I mean, there's like, it's usually just in the heat of the moment in RTA. Everybody I think knows this feeling, but in the heat of the moment, you have those like inclinations to want to do an emote or whatever. Feels bad.
I'll show you what a genius can do.
This first pick into Champion Zerato was quite odd. I mean, Champion Zerato is very nice, but unless he's built on a counter set, doesn't really do much. You know, if I don't draft debuffers, if he's really tanky, he doesn't really output too much damage. If you bring immunity buffers like it just did for Vivian, then his defense break, attack down doesn't really do much either. If he's a damage dealer, he's too squishy. So without like knowing that I'm gonna draft debuff, it's kind of odd that he chose that first. Based on the pre-bans alone, I don't think he should have assumed I would draft debuffers. I actually don't know why. But he was trying to put me into a more difficult position with the Celine there, since I have two buffers that don't do attack. But I wasn't too worried about it. That's why I drafted the A-Robbie and the MLCC. MLCC for the barrier, and then A-Robbie just because she can revive. And at this point, it looks like he is going for not like super crazy DPS at the moment. The LQC draft here, right away I think about Dark Corvus, but I had to wait for his last pick.
This battle excites me.
Dark Corvus is definitely a viable option.
If you wish to fight me,
I usually use him as a counter pick, at the moment at least. So I banned the LQC no matter what, so he's kind of at a dilemma. If he doesn't take out Dark Corvus, it's a bit too risky for the rest of his team. If he takes him out, it kind of fits into my scenario as well. So one very strong nuker in LQC, and then paired with Blaze Dingo as an attack buff, so I didn't want any damage mitigation on his side. That's why I removed the LQC right away, even though I drafted Dark Corvus.
Let's advance together. You pitiful beings. Death is your repentance. In a flash. Can't you handle
I took that risk there because I had the anti-crit buff up. And at this point, all I wanted to do was finish them off quick. I had enough DPS knowing his team. And my Fallen Cecilia is a DPS, so I didn't really mind losing Vivian at this point.
interesting.
Although if he was using Celine's artifact, the one that gets the attack buff, I think my Vivian would have been dead there. I have no damage mitigation outside of the anti-crit buff. And I wouldn't even consider that. My FCC is at this point on an Elbrus Ritual Sword.
This is what the goddess wills. Give me strength. Your life ends here.
At this point, I saw the speed tuning, and it didn't matter if I went for Celine Force or Alencia, but I felt that Alencia was harder to deal with over time.
Are you confident? Destruction! Answer my call!
And because Celine's S2 passive only does every 2 turns, it was safe to use the S3 there for Vivian. Extra barrier and the great attack buff for the next turn kill.
Malachus, the Lord of Fire.
Very interesting. All is done. Bunch of imbeciles.
Does things.
I will guide you through the light. I'll show you what I've got. This is only a temporary alliance.
I think one of the hardest parts, honestly, is the draft. The draft phase is a huge deal, and then comes your gear, and then comes your usage of the heroes in the actual match, and then of course splash some RNG in there. At this point, it was really hard for me to choose a Vivian there on the 3rd pick because he should default to K-Ron, but he didn't. Well, at least not there.
I'll show you what I can do.
So it was interesting that he drafted Maid here as well, opening up a Bazaar pick for me. Which sets him back because he allowed me to have two of the, I guess, say the strongest utility strips in the game. This last pick, Dizzy, honestly, it was more of like a bait.
I'll win anyway.
So he kind of had to, default to Champion Zerato, but then lose out on 1. While I had the debuffer in Dizzy, I also had 2 strippers in Alencia. I was kind of surprised that he got rid of the Alencia over the Bazaar. I think most people would opt to get rid of the Bazaar, but maybe he was hoping that Bazaar is super squishy.
Do you know who I am?
I think if my Bazaar was built better, I would be using Abyssal Crown on main, but most of the time, I mean, I'm not really a big debuffer player outside of Dizzy because she's just really good. So I generally don't like using like Abyssal Crown on it. I usually want to secure the unbuffable or the pushback and the strip. I feel that book is solid anyway. I know different players do different things, and I'm still finding my way in terms of how am I going to use Bazaar, especially if I assuming that if I can push higher. I think it depends on how I want to use them.
It's too late to back out now.
At this point, it does look pretty grim for him. He has no protection whatsoever for allowing that Bazaar to go through. My Dizzy is on a counter, but with so much forms of damage mitigation plus immunity from Vivian, SSB wasn't a really big deal here.
Let's start with something light.
This was all the setup for Vivian for her big explosion.
This is what the goddess wills.
Although his entire team was pretty tanky.
Can't you handle this? How dare you
get warmed up.
I was holding the Bazaar S2 there so I can overlap debuffs when their debuffs run out.
Very. Let's advance together. Step back, flies. Are you prepared for this? Now, bring it on. Stop bugging me.
I don't fight weaklings.
Oh, you want to try me?
Yeah, so by drafting that Spec Tenny without the 6-star Awaken, I was kind of trying to feel him out. I saw that non-6-star Awaken Dizzy that he had as well, so relatively a newer player. At this point, he had a lot of, I would say, like squishier targets, and Alencia and SSB really good into MLCC. Vivian, well, actually, yeah, I think in this one he showcased too much ML5s, which is really advantageous for RGB heroes since they can never miss. So he didn't play against my elements, but rather he just went all neutral, which is good and bad, but I think his draft didn't provide enough flexibility. So it didn't really matter which one he got rid of. He got rid of the
I will guide you through the last
SSB, which is good too. But yeah, there's a lot in my team to get to counter ML Ken, counter FCC, and even a Robbie.
Forbidden spell. Destroy all.
I sometimes double up on the buff for DN and Vivian. One for the anti-crit buff, the other one's for the immunity buff. They overlap the attack buff, which is kind of a waste for most fights. But I did it for this one just because a Spec Tenny can stun. And I didn't want to get any provokes or anything like that.
Kiss my feet. I will step on you.
Scream for me. Obey.
Here I opted to kill the ML Ken first with Aliha's knife, and even if there was like a damage mitigation, generally you can one-shot ML Ken at that HP.
This is what the goddess wants.
Because I had another cleaver coming to take care of Spec Tenny, so I decided to do that. ML Ken would have been a trickier one after Kayron had used his S3 and only Vivian locked her S1. It would have been pretty tricky. The only way you would really be able to beat it without a Kayron S3 would be like Alencia's defense break on ML Ken and like Vivian S1 to finish.
My magic sure was helpful. Do I look?
So I was saying that for players who I fought against who pre-ban like Oxlots or RB, they obviously don't watch me. It's a joke, but yeah, to ban Oxlots is a wasted ban on me, at least at this point of this this commentary. Oh, and even the fight, of course, itself. And RB, because I don't have him yet. I have learned this DN pairing with Alencia. DN pair with Crow, DN pair with Alencia. I have seen this, a lot of people doing that. I haven't really opted for Crow yet, at least I think where I am at the moment where I'm climbing, it's not too difficult yet. So we don't really need that kind of damage mitigation from Crow. Yeah, in terms of an Aureus holder and defense buffer, Alencia does that job pretty well with DN's anti-crit buff. Generally, it takes quite a bit. You got a bit more, I would say, a bit more damage, consistent damage in Alencia over Crow. That's why I have been selecting Alencia. Also, not allowing myself to be taken advantage of in terms of elemental advantage.
This will be unforgettable.
Oh yeah, this player was actually pretty big brain. I did not actually underestimate this guy picking ML Rin. ML Rin is very solid. I myself, if you guys watched part 1, picked a level 58 ML Rin, 5-star awakened, and still beat people with it. So I was not being cocky about this one. I saw his draft. It looked complex. That Athletica on the final one was the biggest deal. There's basically two things going on in my mind here. The stealing of the buff on the ML Rin was a very scary thing, but Athletica and Specteni, if allowed to be left in terms of this comp, I would have lost. Either way, you guys can watch what happens.
Do you know who I am?
This was very fortunate that my Basar beat his ML Rins in speed. If it hadn't, I think I would be in a bigger pickle because he would then stun my Basar, but have full immunity. Although my Alencia did come up after, so in a way it was okay still. But I would just say that his draft, if he had similar gear to mine or even better gear, I think I would have lost. With Specteni, SSB, RB, this should be pretty easy for him actually.
For the main event. This will lead us to victory. Do I look like a pushover to you? Sure. It's too late to back out now.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen if I go into fights without full immunity. Like if my A-Robbie was blind, there would have been a lot less I could do in terms of overall. Like if I kept on missing, of course. A-Robbie at this point was the kind of the clutch. A-Robbie and Alencia together. I needed enough damage, otherwise I'd be bursted down over time. Specteni is too scary to keep alive.
You're boring me.
Let's start with something.
That attack down on Specteni was very fortunate. I will commentate on that. Very fortunate.
This is what you get for ruining my vacation. Don't be afraid. I'll end it now.
I was also very lucky he had no crit rate. He probably like 90s or something. Most people have problems building Specteni with 100% crit. I was very fortunate. Timeless Anchor came in handy as well, as you saw proc. I run Timeless Anchor on my A-Robbie because I feel that every single fight that I've had problems with A-Robbie doing her job is that she's locked down in some sort of debuff. Mine is on a counter as well, so having Timeless Anchor is always really good. 50% chance, but I mean 50% I'll take it. She doesn't really benefit from the way I'm using her. Doesn't really benefit from Draco Plate for more damage or anything. So yeah, Timeless Anchor is very nice.
Let's get warmed up. Do you know who I am?
Yeah, and a Bassar is annoying to keep alive. I mean, if you don't kill him off, he single-handedly controls your team. At this point, I haven't actually molded my Bassar and for the longest time. But then once I started climbing RTA, I'm like, okay, I have to mold him at least the cooldown. But he's actually pretty well molded now.
Bunch of imbeciles.
Accept your duel.
I believe this is what the goddess wills.
How rude.
If you're ready, let's go.
Do you know who I am?
I'll show you my power.
So you see me drafting my champion Zerato here. I think it's the first time I've drafted him, but I don't think he actually makes it into the fight. Again, like I said, I don't usually draft champion Zerato right into Bassar, but where his draft lied, I believe that champion Zerato would be good enough. So like if someone first picks Bassar, I usually don't first pick Zerato.
Very interesting.
I will guide you through the light.
Here is the same case again.
Death
You see this DN coming in handy,
Confident.
and then having the immunity buff on the Vivian. So 3-turn immunity buff, 3-turn attack buff from 3-turn attack buff on both. So I'm stacking, but the anti-crit buff, Dignus Orbs Barrier,
Don't ignore the queen.
and the 3-turn immunity is too good. It's too good.
Route secure.
It is quite interesting that he went for my Mind's Eye, so I had more effectiveness. It's kind of interesting that he wanted to take out the Alencia. He did get a lucky dual attack there, but that was I think that was a misplay on his part, a huge misplay.
Away with you.
It's too late to back out now. I thought this could be fun. Now I'm getting bored.
I believe this is what the goddess wills.
See? Everything comes down to blood.
strong already.
So this is the climb to Challenger. So he pre-banned Oxalots. So he doesn't want to deal with Cleave, but I was glad because I don't want to deal with Cleave either. And then I don't have Oxalots, so again, this guy doesn't never heard of me.
Run before it's too late. Show your elders some respect.
So he picked the Alencia there, very solid pick with SSB as well, but because I knew that he wasn't going Cleave, it would be a lot easier for me to handle at this point.
Should we get started?
This Fire Knight pick here, honestly, should have been Lilius. I mean, Lilius doesn't do super well against SSB. It does depend, but for the cleanse, I should have chose Lilius. The only reason why I didn't was just because I didn't have her built at the point of this fight. The Roz is actually for the immunity, so yeah, you guys will see.
Don't put all your faith in me.
That choice of FCC on my part was mainly because she's pretty neutral except versus Alencia and SSB, but really I felt that he was about to draft her, so I decided to take it out first. Also, my FCC is more of a DPS in this fight, so I needed a DPS secured.
Supermaid! Lily's coming!
I will say though, I remember the feeling of this fight because it was the last one to Challenger, and at this point I've had a really good win streak. So this one I was a bit sweating. He didn't look like he was, you know, very weak. He was very careful in drafting and counter draft. At this point, he had chosen my two main strips, which is Bassar and Alencia. There are other good options, I just don't have them built. But he's going for like the double bait. His draft is pretty strong against mine. Yeah, and this one I opted to take out the SSB. He had two cleavers, there's nothing I can do about the Specteni. But take out the SSB because I would have imagined that he would have kept the Kayron.
Time for a counterattack.
Yeah, this is the RNG. I mean, I had two fires, but that's why I wanted to say Lilius would have been better. It's just a bit more secure.
I'll protect you.
He missed on the two fires, and I don't know if it was his effectiveness was too low for my DN, or if I got lucky with the 15%. The immunity blocked out the strip. I went for the RB first. I generally don't like allowing RBs to have two cleaves. It's kind of the similar aspect to people trying to take out Kayron ASAP. So put him into Immortal. It really weakens the hero as long as they're not allowed to have the turns that they assume that they will have.
I'll show you the real deal.
at this point, looking at the turn cycling, I wasn't too worried about what's coming up next. Everyone but FCC was stripped.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. A roaming heart forever wandering.
Yeah, this was a bit of a risk. I saw that no damage mitigation. Ali has knife. My Kayron's pretty strong, so I was like, okay, take her out without the attack buff, just in case.
I was going to let you off easy.
At this point of the fight, I was more of like looking at the turn rotation and who to kill off next, so they don't benefit from their attack buffs.
I believe this is what the goddess wills. My goddess.
If I must fight. No destiny can stop me!
This defense buff came in handy again to keep everyone alive, mainly Kayron. It's my only source of real damage.
Here I go.
I will guide you through the light.
Yeah, he wanted to get the stun off or get my FCC to the lowest, so my Kayron doesn't get the
Let's do
barrier.
this.
This guy isn't a bad player. I think he got unlucky with the Basar gamble.
Son, are you prepared for this?
I'll make you pay for touching me.
Yeah, this is where counter Kayron really comes in handy. Everybody has lost their revive buff at this point, and RB had died early on, so I had won this one.
Let's advance together.
Another BM. I'm so toxic sometimes. It was just because this was really close, honestly.
For us.
So if I do a laughing Raz lol, it means you're a really good player.
I will guide you through the light.
So that was pretty much it for this this portion. My climb from Masters to Challenger. Next time I think I'll probably wrap it up. It depends on how much footage there is, but maybe a part 3, maybe a part 4. I'll see. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed that. Those fights there are a couple really clutch ones, even in Masters. LOL. Anyways, I'm gonna end this for the video recording. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one.